welcome to the Good for Business podcast. My guest this week is my buddy, Bruce Johnson, here for either the 50th or 51st episode, but it really depends how quick we edit this and whether Stafford Sheridan's edit gets in and beats it out, because he's that much more popular than Bruce, not by much. Welcome to the show, Bruce Johnson.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank your wife for allowing you to come today. Is that what I understand? She's a little skeptical.
I have to get permission to do any and all things. And
anything not lock related, you have to ask her blessing?
Yes. Lots of things not lock related, but it's not so much ask her blessing or her permission as just let her know what's happening.
Yeah, let her know why you're ducking into a downtown apartment for an hour or something.
Right.
Testing the limits. So I have known Bruce on and off almost since I got here. I think the first time I saw him, he was busking in front of CPI maybe a long time ago, playing guitar on the street.
In front of Belladurma, probably.
Yeah, back in the day.
Probably for Wassel Fest, yeah.
Back in the day. Well, a lot of things around here aren't that much older than my time in Columbus. Like I'll be here a little over 20 years, and Market Street just hit 30, I think. And
It's been around a little longer than I have. I moved here in 2000.
So let's talk about your origin story. Born in the wilderness of North Mississippi. You go from there.
Born in the mountains and raised by a bear. So northern Etowah County, not a lot happening in Etowah County. There are more people in Columbus than there are in Etowah County, but would not change the way I was raised for $1 million. Great place to grow up. Still have family there. A lot of old friends there, but moved here, compliments of the grocery business. I was in retail and wholesale grocery industry for a dozen or so years, but that's what brought me to Columbus. Moved Memorial Day weekend of the year 2000. That's how I always keep up with it. So we are a weekend shy of 26 years.
You know what? I'll throw a crawfish boil party for you in a couple days.
Thank you. I will be there with bells on.
What grocery store was it here? Where
it was all right. So it was a little Benton salvage grocery called Real Deal Grocery. Before that, it was G&S Discount, owned by Gary and Susan Shepard, who are natives of Caledonia. Great people. Love seeing them still to this day. But bought it out, changed the name to Real Deal Grocery. Had another actual store in West Point, Mississippi, that was not Benton Salvage. It was actually a little hometown supermarket that was there for decades before I showed up, called Pappy's Foodorama, and we just called it Pappy's Real Deal. Like, shout out to all the West Point people. Had a lot of great customers over there for years and had just an awesome array of clientele there. I used to boast that I could sell 100 pounds of filet mignon a week and 300 pounds of pig feet in the same week. Just loved it. Loved every minute of it.
So you were in a grocery business in both stores. So what prompted the exit from that?
Well,
one of the easiest businesses outside of food service, I'd like to mention, because in case you didn't know, the grocery margins are extremely tight.
Very tight.
And you guess wrong on bread and milk, and you're in trouble.
You are absolutely correct. The margins are very small, and you work a whole lot of hours. I mean, when I got out of the industry, a 50-hour work week felt like part-time. It was nothing to work 65 and 70 hours a week in the grocery business, but that's what it took. What got me out of West Point was we just pulled back to the one store, and it was built on reclamation, which is Benton salvage style grocery that, people were trying to stretch $1 and save $1. They loved it. But as time went on, that industry shifted. And what we could used to get just a random box of miscellaneous goods to pick through and salvage and sell for like $8 or $9 in less than 4 years doubled in price. So the profit margin got sucked out from under it, and it got to where I literally couldn't make money at it anymore, and left that in about 2012.
Yeah, I remember going to Suda Salvage, which is a place in Louisiana when I grew up. Same thing, same timeline. Yep. Before Katrina, they were dying out, and then Katrina knocked one of them out, and then I don't even know if there's a salvage store. I don't know of any.
Yeah, there's still another one up in Tisch County, just north of Etowah, that still exists. But like I said, the profit margins in them went away.
Yeah, I mean, the regular grocery profit margins,
right? It's not great in of itself.
Yeah, no, especially when you factor in waste and everything else, and then the nature of the business still hasn't changed, where you got to be there at 5:30 or 6 in the morning to get anything done and take deliveries and have your inventory set that day, even with computers.
Yeah.
And then your real rush starts at 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one person calls out, you're there, and one kid steals some stuff, and you're in trouble. And it's just it's a tough business. So what'd you do next?
Well, when I left there, I actually had a previous relationship with Mark Smith, who owns the CPI Group. Originally, it was called Columbus Personnel Incorporated, started by his father. And Mark changed the branding, CPI Group. I knew Mark. So they actually placed me at Stark Aerospace, and I worked there for several months, but that never changed into a full-time job with Stark. I enjoyed my time there, but Mark pulled me back in and put me to work basically selling staffing services and talking to, for 15 years, I'd managed people. I'd hired and fired people, so I could walk into literally any business organization and know the biggest headache they got is employees and staffing their business or staffing their company. And so I could talk shop with them about that, help them find candidates, and did that and enjoyed it. And that's kind of what led to what I do now.
Yeah. So now you were in the B&I group, and you were still in your staffing role when I came, maybe 8 years ago?
Right. No, it was a little more than that. I hadn't quite changed yet. I joined Business Networking International in Starkville as a CPI group representative. And then they put someone in that chapter that was also working with us that lived in Starkville.
That's right.
And then I moved over here and we chartered our Thursday chapter that you and I are still a member of, and just had a couple of years there before I saw the business that I'm now doing and thought, hey, I'm not too old of a dog to teach new tricks, so let's go wrap my mind around something brand new at almost the age of 40.
Yeah. So in case you didn't know, at the ripe young age of 40, which you still are, frozen in time, I'd say there.
Thanks, man.
You got Boardtown Locksmith out from Security Solutions, correct?
That's correct.
And then 3 years later, Tom Cole sold Columbus Lock and Key. It was a slower
it's about 4 years.
The idea came up, and then he actually had to retire, which is is he still technically almost really retired?
He is more retired now than he's ever been. Let's say it that way. He's done better with retirement than I thought. So in 2016 was when I went on the venture of becoming a locksmith and buying Boardtown Locksmith from Security Solutions, as you mentioned, and Bart Williams, who is our District 15 senator for the Starkville area. Bart's a great guy, and he was very gracious to me and helping me get my start in this line of work, and just can't thank him enough. And he's got a great group of guys that I've known for years. But about 4 years later, through just working in the industry, there's not a lot of locksmiths. And so I got to know Tom, and Tom was also very gracious to me. If I had a job where I didn't know how to do the work and didn't have time to go take classes or learn it, I'd call Tom and be like, Tom, what do you want to charge this customer to do this job at this location? And he'd quote me a price, and I'd quote the customer the price, and then I'd just schedule him, meet him there. I was like, all right, Tom, don't touch anything. Tell me how to do this. And so I would get the education without abusing his time and his knowledge. And it built a great rapport and reputation with him and a great relationship. And so as time went on, he got ready to retire and sell out. So I stepped in and saw the opportunity.
You and I have talked privately, like their technology has helped. I like to talk about in B&I and in this podcast about how some parts of technology people overlook can really help. So if you had tried to do this in the 80s, you would probably had to spend 4 solid years with Tom or with somebody to learn. I mean, a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like a mix of YouTube, I know there's still stuff that nothing's quite like the feel of a stone cold lock in your hand and you can't quite figure it out. But there's a lot of stuff on YouTube and online when you're stuck, when you're like, oh, God, what do I do?
Yeah. And what I found, even with those things available, a lot of people just want the pain to go away. Like, you got a lot of DIY guys that can watch that video or look it up and study it a little bit and figure it out.
Well, there's also a difference between the DIY and then locksmith to locksmith stuff is a whole nother genre of stuff, which I don't enjoy, even watching. Like there's some videos I want to watch, like, oh, this guy's building a hut. Oh, how neat.
Yeah.
And then it's like hut builders building huts for hut builders. I'm like, I don't want to see this crud, you know? That's how I've seen some locksmith videos where I'm like, not that I'm going to do it, but I'm like, you've said something. I'm like, oh, I want to look at this. And then I'm like, and it's the guy who's a locksmith explaining to another locksmith how to open this safe. And then there's parts where he blacks out, where he's like, you need to have this tool, you need to have this permission to do it. Or
right.
And he comes back and I'm like, this isn't interesting at all.
Yeah, this is a video for locksmiths, not for the general public. But yeah, you're right. If you had a time machine and took me back to the 80s, there's whole industry of things. Just think about automotive stuff. We'll get calls every now and then to do a car that was maybe a early 80s model or mid 80s model of something that all the keys are lost to. Well, the people that probably like Tom that could remove that switch and the details of taking that switch apart to get it out to replace, the people that could have done that blindfolded 3 decades ago, or they're retired or they're dead. and there's no need for me to waste time learning to do that, because how many of those cars are still on the road? And if they are, they're vintage and the people probably got keys to them.
That's the pain I feel right now trying to find a pinball arcade mechanic, is that it isn't that hard, but it's not worth anybody's energy unless they're fascinated with it.
Yeah.
To learn all the specific stuff for stuff that doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
But then again, I own an arcade and I need help. So how easy or hard has the locksmith business been?
It's been very good to me. Like I said, there's not a lot of locksmiths and there's always a need. The difficulty is in communication and just people having a good walking understanding of what's going on with their lock to tell us what's happening. And we have to ask a lot of questions and to just try to avoid the time it would take to drive out there and look at it and realize, oh, we just need to replace it, or look at it and then come back and get what's needed. But yeah, and and a good 50-60% of our calls are calls that we need you right now. We're locked out. We need you now. Yeah. Lost my keys. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I need you now. And you try to be able to catch as many of those as you can, but also a big portion of our work is just rekey work, as you know, because I rekey your properties when you have vacancies and put them on a new key and then add them to your master key.
This is my testimony here for Bruce Johnson. That's key. One key for 14 properties, 3 deadbolts, my house, everything.
Yeah,
it's the best 2 or 3 days I ever stopped and did. So let's just
do this.
Get this over.
Yeah, you don't have to keep up with a bag full of keys if you need access to a vacant property or somebody that rents from you needs you to get in there and do something. But I'm not going to abandon that apartment or that house or that business I'm in the middle of rekeying the locks for. I'm not going to abandon it and leave it unsecure for the sake of going and unlock a car or a home that somebody needs me right now. Either they're going to have to wait on me a little bit, or I can refer them to some other people that can unlock stuff. You don't have to necessarily be a locksmith to unlock locks, especially cars.
Yeah. And so when is the busiest time of year? Is there other than, I know we're going to say Mississippi State.
Yes.
Time.
Yeah.
Other than that, is there any cyclical cycle to locksmith? Does it get cold? Like, barber's hair grows slower in the winter. But so the locks break more in the winter or the summer?
No, it's, you do see an uptick with locks needing to be looked at when you have seasonal changes, because in Mississippi, all the houses are built on the dirt in Mississippi, and you have some settling over time. We have a lot of humidity here, so the changing of the weather will often make for wood to swell and retract, which affects alignment issues with locks. Not necessarily the locks themselves, but just them aligning properly. So you've been going home and all the lock's working fine, then one day the deadbolt don't want to throw over very smoothly, or it doesn't want to unlock as smoothly as it did before. And that could just be as simple as strike plate needs to be adjusted a little. And it doesn't even really involve locksmithing, it's carpentry. But
so do you deal with cars? Are you dealing more with people losing their keys or getting locked out? Because it's pretty hard to get locked out. Like my Lexus thinks it lives in Compton. If I close the door, walk 8 feet away, it locks itself. Like it just thinks it lives in the hood. I know there's a way to change it. I get it, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't like it. It wants to be locked.
Yeah, and in the technology we have with push button start ignitions, they're supposed to pick up when that key is left in the car and not allow it to lock. It will still do that if your car battery's low. It'll do that. If the battery in the remote itself is low, it'll do that. If you leave the remote key sitting next to something that is metallic or has metal properties of some sort, it can run interference on that signal and allow it to do that. Unfortunately, as far as lost keys go, people aren't proactive. They wait until they've lost all their keys.
Yeah.
And that just costs more because now we got to go to the car versus they've got the car, they're down to one key. Let's go to the shop and get one done there. It's always more cost efficient to do it that way because I'm not having to go to you. But and we still have the argument with folks that they're driving an old car that's early 2000s model that still has a key, and they crank it up, turn in the ignition. It's like, oh, it's just a regular key. Well, most vehicles had transponder chips in those keys since like 1998. So we have that argument with customers a lot because they're like, well, I just need the key. Well, we got to come and program it. No, it's just a regular key. What year is your vehicle? And they 2005 Ford F-150. Nope, got to be programmed.
Yeah, that cash for clunkers thing that Obama did cleaned up a lot of old cars.
It
that
really
was
did.
a bad generation of cars. Like a lot of cool cars got destroyed.
I agree.
But that 85 to 98 class of cars, there's a lot of computer problems, a lot of junk in there, and they cleaned up a lot of that. But that was a bad point. You know, I was in between both generations. Like I've owned a Camaro that if something was wrong, it's fuel or fire. Like it was just alternator, starter, carburetor, like you could see it to where then, you know, in the early 90s, there were cars that had so many computers on them that didn't know what they were doing that you couldn't figure anything out. And now a lot of them have computers on, but if they're a decent car, like it's correct. It's like, oh, this is wrong, you know?
Yeah. These poor mechanics too. You've got to have almost electrical engineering background. That's why they send them to so much school when they hire new techs and invest in them because it's more diagnostic than it is actual mechanical.
Well, I could literally talk about locks all day, but let's talk about the loves of your life, your little girls.
Well, yeah, they're
not so little.
They're not so little. They are full grown.
Crying.
Don't get me started because my oldest, Cameron, she's 24, just graduated master's school right here at the W at Speech Language Pathology master's degree, and she's taking a job in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, come on.
My God, 12 hours away. My baby's going to leave me. But she's going to do well wherever she goes. She's always done well. She's very goal-oriented. Never had less than a A+ average during her undergrad. Graduated with all of the extras. She's just done great. And moving off, she played 4 years of volleyball at the W as well. Moving off to go pursue bigger and better things. And then my youngest daughter, Sophie, she's about to start. She's just finished her second year of college. She went to Northeast Community College up in Boonville and played volleyball there for 2 years. And she's currently waiting to see if she's going to get accepted into one of two different programs, either radiology or dental hygienist school, which I guess I could use either one of those.
Yeah, that'd be radiology might help you more the older you get.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but she's doing well. She's going to be closer to home for at least a little while longer. But yeah, they're my babies. I've chased them everywhere with sports and coached them in sports, and it's been really fun. And I couldn't be more proud. But at the same time, I don't want them to go too far away.
I had a tough time last year where my older two left on the same day, one for college and one to live at MSMS, and we were just like. Julie, we love you, but it's just one kid at home. Now I say that now they've both been home for about 24 hours total, all three girls at once, and we're already like,
can you go somewhere?
Go maybe play outside in traffic or something.
Yeah, they're loud. I learned very early as a father when both of them came along because Cam's almost 4 years older than Sophie, and I had to ask myself, okay, is what they're doing right now wrong, or is it just getting on my nerves? Because if it's just getting on my nerves, it's hard to reprimand them if they're not doing anything wrong.
Well, the athletic prowess of our kids is obviously full credit to us.
Also,
the brain powers, of course, all credit to us for the countless hours we spent doing homework and watching historical documentaries and talking about math and science. Correct?
100% could not agree more. It is completely our fault that they're
Yes.
both athletic and geniuses.
Yeah, at the same time, because obviously looking at us and hearing us speak, talking about science in long division, long division. That's it. That's where it stops. That's the whole thing. I've looked at my daughter's homework from MSMS and I just went, nope. I don't even know what that is. Like,
Yeah,
there's
ask
like,
AI.
That's a number. That's a letter. What is that?
Right?
And I was like, is Matt Damon doing your homework?
Why did they start adding like some sort of Greek literature to
It's tough.
Pig Latin and math?
Somebody asked me, like, your third kid might be going there too. I'm like, well, maybe. They're like, wow, y'all must be really into math and science. I'm like, I asked them, my daughter, we're now in our third full year done at school there. And I said, once again, stop and explain to me the difference between calculus, physics, like, and the four big, I'm like, which one's math and which one's science? I'm like, I don't know.
I did do well in math, and I was kind of on track to do in the engineering route, but I was done with school by that point. Yeah,
and if you don't like school, you don't do engineering. That's why I'm very lucky. My daughter Katie's into it, and she's taking intro to engineering at MSMS, because intro to engineering is just like intro to bio at college. Like 40% of kids change their mind when they run into that buzzsaw.
Yeah,
because the school wants them out of the way by the sophomore year, because they're like wasting everybody's time.
Yeah.
So 40% of kids in Mississippi colleges drop out because they're like, "Whoa, I'm not going to be able to handle being a nurse or a doctor or an engineer."
Yeah,
and she took it and got an A+ or whatever
nice.
at MSMS, which is, if you take it some other schools, you'd be like, okay, but like there, like. And
you can do this.
You can do it. You can handle it. So it makes their kids fearless because they have to rely on themselves, which is very important and a lost art with a bunch of kids these days.
It very much is. And, both your kids and my kids, I think they've been raised with a bit of no one's coming to your rescue kind of thing. Yeah. And I know I've heard you say that, and I've borrowed that from time to time, but yeah, all education is self-education. I forget what great philosopher said that.
I just posted something this morning. It's a Jim Rohn quote. I'll find it while you.
Oh well, I think I had a teacher in high school that used to say that, or maybe a philosophy teacher in college, Mr. Wilson or somebody like that from ICC years ago. But he'd say all education is self-education.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how great the teacher is. You've got to sit there and absorb it and put it into practice. Or if you just go pick up an encyclopedia, what's that? Or anything like, you got to be able to take it from knowledge to practice.
Yeah. Well, that was the quote I put: work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and you'll go from making a living to making a fortune. That's a Jim Rohn quote.
Yeah.
That's my kids have to. I'm hoping my kids absorb some of the personal growth and meditate, because I do send them a lot of stuff, and I know they're like,
Yeah.
They do talk about manifesting stuff and working hard, so that's what I really do.
I've tried to do some of that. I never wanted their path to be my path or what I wanted them to do. There's things I hoped and wanted them to do, but it's their lives. I'm not happy my oldest is going to Tampa, but that's her life. That's her choice. And if she's a year from now, she may hate it and want to come home. Daddy will be here.
Especially if our plan comes to fruition, where we drive down there every week and shake the windows of her house and scare her. Oh, sorry.
They didn't hear that, yeah.
All right.
Or just use it as a place to get away.
Yeah. We'll go to vacation home. So let's talk a little about that wife of yours.
Yeah, she's kind of crazy. Redheaded.
So her name's Janie, right?
Yeah, last I checked.
How long have you all been married?
We have been married, just had our 3-year anniversary. We got married in May the 6th, day after Cinco de Mayo.
At a castle.
At a castle. It was
So she's a princess, and if you find an encyclopedia, ladies and gentlemen, like one of the ones on this book, and grab it right here, put it down, and you look up redhead in there, will you find her under there?
In the encyclopedia or the dictionary, you're likely will find a picture of my wife with all of her glorious red hair. But yeah, the funny story about us getting married in a castle, I was DJing wedding events and other parties and things for Amy and Robert Moore with Style Entertainment. I don't know if you've had either of those guys on, but that would be a good host.
Style
the Band. They're
the most professional wedding band in Mississippi.
They are awesome, absolutely awesome. Well, they had 2 bands, and they were looking to get a DJ because they had lots of events that required a DJ because it wasn't conducive to a band, or they couldn't afford the band. And just so happens Amy's mother is my accountant, and coincidentally, she was Tom Cole's accountant as well. So, but she introduced us, and I DJ'd for them. And while Janie and I were dating, I would run off to these weekend weddings to do the gigs, and I'd always send her pictures because she's a baker. She would do wedding cakes for people and cupcakes and stuff.
I've nearly forgotten that she's a baker. I'm not saying that the treats stopped coming once y'all got married, but
yeah, I understand.
It probably did for you too.
I still have to beg for them every now and then, but yeah, I roll up down in Decatur, Mississippi. I didn't even know this place existed, at a castle, and I'm videoing as I'm driving up to the castle, and I'm like sending it to her saying, this is a legit castle in the middle of nowhere in Newton County. And after I sent her the video, she's like, okay, I'm getting married there. You can come along for the ride.
She thought that was a proposal?
Yeah, well, she didn't even think it was a proposal. She just said, I'm getting married there. And she like researched the place and the whole 9 yards. You fast forward like 3 years later, I think, when I finally got around to proposing, before the day ended, she had reached out to them to find out availability for the following year in May.
Well, at least she's organized.
She's very organized. She's better at it than I am.
She falls in. So there's several tropes or prejudices for redheads, which is they're immune to pain or very sensitive to pain. I think you said she's very sensitive to pain, right?
Quite sensitive.
They're day walkers with no soul, and then I forget the other third one. But
well, I mean, yeah.
What's the third one? Is there some other redhead myth that we're supposed to believe? I don't know.
No, we'll come up with one.
They make good cakes.
They make good cakes.
Even though they don't make them as often as they used to.
She's a mermaid. She fully believes she's a mermaid. She's Ariel. She loves Disney. Would go to Disney monthly, I think. And it's not the happiest place in the world for me.
I didn't know you were that successful to go to Disney monthly.
We're not.
Okay.
I'm just saying she could go. So anybody out there that's wanting to take a random redhead with them to Disney, she's always down to go.
Yeah. If you'd like free locksmithing for 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney's they're pretty proud of their stuff. We luckily, right before COVID, when my wife was recovering from chemo, went down there and just went for it, because we didn't know how she was going to recover.
Sure.
We spent 10 days there. And all I can say is after that 10 days is, I get it.
Yeah.
I get what y'all are trying to do. Good for you. We still didn't see everything.
No, not after 10 days.
Yeah, you still don't see every single thing. And we had the super duper chemo fast pass. And that's all I said when I left. I'm like, all right. That'll do, pig. Or that'll do, mouse. That'll do. Like,
I'm not saying we won't ever go back, but I'm good if I never go back. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm good. It's going to have to be winter or cold weather when I go.
Oh, yeah.
Second time we went with the kids, we went for like 2 days one time, and then we went for a decent, like a 5 or 6 day. And we're flying down there, and it's between Christmas and New Year's. And I'm just a dude, so I'm like, well, people are visiting their families and stuff. This is going to be a slow time. And my wife's like, we're already there. She's like, this is the worst time. I'm like, your expectations that it's going to be slow. And then the second time we went in January, it was supposed to be the slowest week of the year, but it didn't affect it,
Yeah.
Star Wars was opening up, and then they just keep raising the prices to keep the crowds down is all they do. They don't accommodate to have more rides. They're just like, we'll just keep charging more and more and more.
People keep paying it. So
I saw a couple stories. They found 3 people from an article who bought houses in the Florida Panhandle and were renting them out that were filing homestead there. People from the South who bought houses there and homesteaded there because the tickets to Disney are so much cheaper if you're a resident there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they had enough people that they found 3 or 4 to write a story about where they're like, I live in New Orleans, but I bought my house there. I pay more in taxes here, but it saves us so much going to Disney 5 times a year.
Yeah, gosh.
That's a problem.
I would not want to go to Disney 5 times a decade, let alone 5 times in a year. But
again, I get it. I like it. The memories are good, but my memories are nighttime at Epcot and walking around. It's quiet. They're straight.
You're probably like me. I think you and I are both the kind of guys where wherever we find ourselves, we'll be content. Or whether we're sitting at the clubhouse having bourbon, or if we're sitting at Zachary's having bourbon, or if we're sitting here, or if we're at Market Street having bourbon. We'll find some contentment somewhere or another. We'll just chill like that. But I find the older I get, the less I don't do crowds as well as I used to, and I don't do lines very well at all. And it's not so much the impatience of waiting in line. It's just I find people's IQs plummet when they get in a line anywhere.
Well, I despise lines. I despise bad customer service, and I love a good cancellation. It could be my own event at night. I've never canceled one, as we've mentioned before,
Right?
In 100-something events. But like, I love it when people give up on stuff. Like, oh, we're supposed to go somewhere Saturday night, and they're like, hey, it's canceled. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's a concert that I want to go to, I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that came out of COVID, and then we had tornadoes and snow here, where like the schools cancel nighttime events just because it's raining. I'm like, and like this will be posted in a month, but with the crawfish bowl at my house in a couple of days, people are like, it's raining. What are you going to do? I'm like,
have a crawfish
beer
bowl.
and eat crawfish.
Yeah.
I was like, I just told Shane Tubbs and Mookie that Wilson is like, y'all are expendable.
Yeah.
Well, you get electrocuted. Just move to the next one.
Move to the next one.
Yeah.
Put a cover over it, maybe.
Yeah, the musicians are expendable.
Yeah, you can always unplug and just sing and play your instrument with no electrification.
I said I was a little worried about Rhonda Richardson from Trinity Nursing. Blue Eyed Brass are closing today, and that's like a 5-man band with all kind of equipment. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, y'all can bail because like not only are you a little older, but you got a lot of equipment and stuff. Yeah. But everybody else, like, unless it's pouring rain, and we don't really, no matter what they say here, New Orleans. Most of my life was all day thunderstorm rain, and here it's usually what we have most of the time. An hour, that's fine, an hour. I'll probably eat my words on Sunday, but I'll also be eating crawfish.
Crawfish, yes, and drinking.
It'll be a good time. So back to locksmithing. What's your busiest time of year is move out in Starkville?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, as you mentioned, mid-July to mid-August is nuts around Starkville, compliments of the college and what's called turn time. Other than that, you'll see uptick, like I said, with temperature changes, weather changes from cold to hot and hot to cold, and you do have some around the holidays. We will get quieter the week of Christmas, but when people are preparing to get like this one door that the lock hadn't been working good or some hardware changed, it also walks hand in hand in your line of work when more houses are being sold, which I think is traditionally in the spring.
Yeah.
There'll be an uptick in rekeys, and that's my plug for anybody about to buy a house. There's no telling what maniacs have key to your house. You have no idea how many people, how many neighbors, how many cousins of the previous owners.
Most of my listings have been touched, but from the time I list them, not counting realtors, 3 other people have touched those.
Absolutely.
Even on a house that just got rekeyed, even on a house with your stupid coated locks. If you do buy a coated lock, and I have one on my clubhouse, at least buy a good one.
Yeah.
People tend to buy the cheapest one and don't replace the batteries. And I can't tell you how many problems. Realtors despise them.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to them and honestly, 1 out of 5 or 6 times, it doesn't work right.
Well, and they'll have them put on and then they just stop carrying their keys. Like, I don't need keys anymore. Well, you do. Your batteries will die because you don't change them like you should. Or my personal favorite is they've got the digital deadbolt like you have on the clubhouse, but I always talk them into change your lockable doorknob to a passage knob, like a hall and closet knob that doesn't lock, because inevitably you'll give a code to somebody and they'll lock it when they leave and they lock the doorknob, and now they or somebody else or yourself is locked out of the place because you don't keep the key to the doorknob. So
that happens to realtors all the time. That's the most common, is that they lock the door because they're trying to be good stewards of the house, and there's no note. And the other one is we're used to, you're supposed to leave the house the way you found it, but sometimes lights are on, it's vacant, you turn them off or whatever. You'll lock the door to the garage. And I can't tell you how many realtors have called me like, why'd you lock it? I'm like, there's no note, nothing. Like, how am I supposed to know these people don't have a key to their house?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't.
They don't. Yeah. So many people, they have maybe a key to one back door. They don't have a key to the front door. They use the garage door opener. That's their means of securing their home, which is not ideal. But I know a lot of people that do that. But I know a lot of realtors because when they list a house, they want to bring people in the front door. That's just, for whatever reason, that's y'all's go-to, and that's where it's got to happen. We're supposed
to put the key where it's the most inviting entrance, and most of the time that's the front door.
Right.
Some older houses, sometimes you don't want to bring them to the front door because it's dated or something.
Yeah.
I don't like going in garages and that sort of thing. So
But that's also the least used door in the house because people are going in through the carport or through the garage.
Yeah,
so.
I can't tell you the last time I unlocked my front door from the outside. There's no reason. We go out it every day to grab our Amazon stuff, but we don't. I'm never going in it.
No.
I think my key works because I think you probably.
Yeah, it's supposed to. If it didn't, then someone sabotaged you. And it wasn't me.
That's pretty likely. It's not that far. It could be your wife.
It could be.
She's out there about. I'm always watching for her, so she's pretty tough.
Just randomly showing up.
Yeah. Talk about some of your wonderful charitable endeavors you do, most notably, I guess, first responders.
Yeah. I was going to say most of them are tied to whatever you're doing, and I'll never do as much as you, but yeah. And working with the CPI group is what got me turned on to the Salute to Lowndes Finest, which is an event that was started by Mark Smith to promote and honor our area first responders. And it came about because he went to New York to help with some of the cleanup. And we're rolling up on the 25th year anniversary of what happened on 9/11. And when he came back from that, he just had this overwhelming desire of like, these guys, they're not showing enough appreciation. The major loss of life that happened in New York and the guys that rushed in that lost their lives because of it, there's no amount of compensation to pay them back for risking their lives, be it police, be it sheriff's department, be it fire department, so on and so forth. They carry a badge and bad things happen, be it man-made or natural disasters, they're going. They stop everything and they go. And also tied to that event, the event's coming up in September, they have the First Responders Recovery and Relief Fund, which helps fill the shortfall between, if a first responder has to have surgery and they're waiting on insurance to kick in, or maybe insurance doesn't quite cover everything. Well, that doesn't mean their house note stopped being due. It doesn't mean their car payment's not still due, and power. So making first responders aware that it's out there, because by nature, they're not the kind to raise their hand and say, hey, I need some help. They're more tentative to the needs of others. So every year we use the event to bring awareness to that fund. And it's been a great event. I've loved being a part of it. And I got to be a part of it through working with the CPI group, and I've just continued it on every year. And I've been the MC for the event for several years now. And I think this will be the 22nd or 22nd year that they've done the event, because they had a couple of years they didn't do it because of COVID. And then I think the year after 9/11, that year, like the following year, maybe when they originally started it.
Yeah. And the part people don't realize, and I have to have, or get to have this conversation through the wisdom of doing 100 and something fundraisers, is I have to tell people, like when we're trying to raise money for them, like, don't pay your medical bills with this. Like there are, I've learned through my wife's struggles that there are bills, there are places you would go that if you don't pay, you will not get coverage.
Yeah.
But most hospitals and stuff will do emergency surgery and that you need to save this money for your monthly bills.
Yeah.
100%. And the second biggest lesson that I've talked to Keaton Blocker and a whole bunch of my friends with who are struggling through stuff is eventually the casseroles stop coming.
Yeah.
People only have so much capacity for empathy and love. And if you're still dying after a while, people are like, all right, I get it. Like they're like, and just subconsciously, they want to love on you. And I think that's what happens with first responders too. Mm-hmm. People have this healthy respect and all this sort of stuff from them. And then, the 911 stuff goes off. It's just like the military Memorial Day night. You're like, yeah, America.
Mm-hmm.
And a week later, you're like,
yeah.
And that's weird. Like we have an incredible community that supports Columbus Air Force Base here. But they're not top of mind. This isn't a base town. I know we have some planes up, but especially since over the last 25 years, the pilots aren't out all night drinking, chasing girls. When I got here, they still were.
Yeah.
And over the last amount of time, now they're graduating in 8 months. Like they're not here to party. They go to Munson's once a week, have a beer, check like one beer, go back, be careful.
Maybe have their party there when they graduate and they're out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a different environment here too, where you're just not around them. And that's something I learned from my time in the newspaper and the media, was being around cops, is how much respect I had for them.
Oh, yeah.
How much they go through just every day that doesn't make the news or you don't see. It's just rough.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no amount of money you could pay me to do what those guys have to do.
I always tell people, and I said, I'm sure there's corrupt people in every industry, but I'm like, these guys are trying.
Yeah.
They're not trying.
Yeah.
I've seen very few officers and sheriff's deputies and stuff who really weren't. They may have been rude at the scene or something, but investigating real crimes, and every time I've seen a kid hurt or somebody like 12 years and under, they're dying.
Yeah.
I mean, just dying.
Yeah, and they see it all the time. And like ER nurses, they see it all the time. They're seeing the worst of humanity. So I give them a pass if I happen to catch them and they don't have their best face on.
Yeah, that's what I'm most proud of, or what I explained at my time at the Packet newspaper. I was there 4 years, and 3.5 of it I was chasing crime, and 2.5 of that was really like 5-6 days a week, sleeping with the scanner in my ear. Saw over 50 people die in car wrecks, another 10 or 12 die. I watched 3 people literally die, of which the police officers killed 2 people, and I watched 2 police officers get shot. And that's when I was like, hey, that's it. It's enough for me.
I've seen enough.
And it wasn't trauma from it, but it was just, man, it's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like I say, I saw the worst Columbus had to offer. And that's why I'm focused on the other part of it. Everybody else has it covered. Bad news will find me.
It will find everybody. Yeah.
And that's why when once every 2 years when I post something kind of bad or complaining, like I get a lot of help. Like, oh, the poor FedEx driver that pulled my package on the sidewalk that day just heard from everybody in the state of Mississippi from FedEx. And the director of FedEx in Memphis was like, "Why is a state senator calling me about your package?" He goes, who in the Ferris Bueller are you? And I'm like, oh, well, I've never put anything bad on Facebook, like, ever. And my packages kept showing up further away. And there was one of y'all's people was stealing packages, and they just got arrested. And my wife's disabled, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, can you just tell them to stop calling, please? He goes, your packages will be hand delivered on white glove and put on your door. But if I have to get one more call from another director about Colin Krieger's FedEx package, I'm like, well, I don't complain, and every once in a while I ask for stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, a couple weeks ago, this was like a year ago. I was like, I asked for a freezer, and like 3 people just left freezers in my backyard.
Yeah, just
He's like, how does that work? I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty cool though.
That's what happens when you have like the most followers for Facebook in
the small area.
In Mississippi, maybe. I don't know.
Nah, the Stafford Sheridan guy's pretty. I'm sure there's plenty of people bigger, but like, I don't try to get any bigger. I'm trying to have as much interaction locally as I can.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we started this was that like lunch was getting expensive. I'm like, so we can sit here, pay this, support a local business, ready, and then I have all my friends that I would want to talk to, and then we have video there, and if somebody's looking for a reference, and then these will be classical stories 50 years from now.
Yeah.
Somebody could sit down and have some bourbon.
Absolutely. Right now, there's going to be hopefully people that are watching this that will have to Google encyclopedia and Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, the Ferris Bueller reference. That's my wife's favorite story about. I have to have Keely Shields. So Keely Shields is on WCBI with me. And, and so my favorite story of her was, we're about to go on air, and like one of the camera hydraulics breaks and shrinks down, and the guy's like struggling to get up, and she's like, 30 seconds. And I go, the Sanford and Son theme song.
Right.
And she goes, what is that? She's like looking at the camera. They're like 10. I'm like, Sanford and Son. She's like, what's that? I'm like, the most popular sitcom technically of all time.
Right.
She's like, when was it on? I'm like, late 70s, early 80s. And right before we go on air, she wasn't trying to be mean or funny. She went like this, like putting her hand like that, like the way you would do with your pop, like, oh, you have good, it's okay, you're having a bad day. And I get home and my wife sees it. Then I go to the office and 2 of the girls like, what did you say to her? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, right when y'all were going on air, she goes, it wasn't inappropriate. She wasn't holding your hand. And she wasn't trying to be funny. She's like, okay, pop. And I was like, that's what it was. I made a reference to something that happened 35 years before she was born.
Right.
And I'm like, I guess I can't use that reference anymore. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. I have to ask people, I'm like, you wear a Ferris Bueller? They're like, no. So I'm like, never mind.
We have nothing to discuss.
I don't have a good story. That's what Keely said about the Stafford Sheridan guy. Hey, Stafford, he's famous. Very sincere, super awesome guy. Made a really complimentary video about the town. But like, he saw her at the King Cotton Crawfish Boil. Mm-hmm. Keely's a 25-year-old young lady. She's in a little skirt and all that. He walks up to her. He's like, whoa, who are you? They're both celebrity judges. Yeah. He's like, you're on TV. And she's like, yeah. And he goes, do you know Colin? She's like, yeah. She goes, can I have his number? And she's like this. She's like I'm in this 25-year-old blonde, small town smoke show is the song.
Yeah.
He's like, can I have Colin's number?
That's right.
Yeah, of course.
Another friend of ours at the similar situation when we were at the clubhouse. I can't remember if it was Super Bowl Or one of those things where you Haley and her dad shows up and you just push her out of the way to go.
I said, whatever. Yeah. Haley, who works for Amanda Meadows here, it's fair to call her a small town smoke show, but
Sure.
I've told her dad that. Like, we had to have conversations because he got any daughters? First thing he said to me, you got any daughters? I'm like, I got 3 teenage daughters. He's like, so you? I'm like, yes, sir.
I get it.
We're all right. I'm professional. And, then he came in that night, and I was like, what is up, you gorgeous, sexy thing? And she's like, hey, Colin. I
just pushed her out
and hugged her
dad.
60-year-old dad. So I like
She's
that.
used to it.
Yeah.
She got just as much of a kick out of it, too. And Haley, before you take what we said personally, nobody likes you.
Yes, no, don't.
If you're watching this, yeah.
Yeah, no, she's a please don't sue. I'd like to mention that she works for my good friend Amanda Meadows, Esquire, attorney at law, who lives a block away or is a block away from here, whose license plate says sue him with an exclamation point on it. So should you happen to get behind her in traffic, give her some room. Just give her.
Do not bump her.
Yeah, give her a little room. Give her a little space. She'll be across the street at my crawfish boil this weekend.
Absolutely. So, come on over.
Well, this will come out after that. So you just plan ahead for next year. There's no way I'm editing this podcast with Sunday with all I have going on. So
I mean, you never know.
No, I'm pretty sure. Anything else you want the kids to know about you? How do we get in touch with you if we want to order? You have some sort of good number, don't you?
Yeah, we've got 662-329-1457 is Columbus Lock and Key, has been that same number for 40 years.
Lock, or what is
No. That's just 329-1457. However, Boardtown Locksmith is 662-324-BOLT. And that's the same phone number it was for decades before. The predecessor to them, Security Solutions, having that business was the late, great Don Roulet, who moved to Starkville from Canada, but he set up 324-BOLT. And that was
some brilliant people did that. I happened to know a realtor 13 years ago who did 329 sold. And do you know who doesn't understand my phone number the most? Is friends.
Yeah.
I have friends get new cell phones like, what's your number? I'm like,
329 sold.
Come on, man. They're like, what does sold stand for?
My children's middle name.
Look it up on your phone. But some people, my kids, the letters don't show up on their phone.
Yeah,
you have to put it on there now. So
yeah,
I do have it on there.
Okay, good. I was going to say you've changed that, right?
I need it. I need that standard of like, not that anybody else. I don't know if anybody else in town has. Lawyers have those kind of numbers. 329 bill.
Yeah, but yeah, we're approaching a whole generation of people that didn't grow up with that we did, whether it be a rotary phone or a push dial phone. Yeah.
Well, I saw that somebody reminded me that 911 didn't start till like 1989.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then now I remember like the stickers being everywhere of, oh, you're supposed to call 911, and looking at my grandmother's phone going, tragic. All right. And so if they got to get in touch, are you still doing any DJing at all?
No, I
only
will,
if I guilt you into it.
Right. Yeah, I will pick it up for family and friends for little side events. And, if Amy and Robert are ever in a jam, they'll hit me up I've not in probably about a year, but I try to stay available if they ever get in a jam and bail them out, because they're like you said, you've never canceled a party. To my knowledge, they've never canceled a gig, ever, of whether it be their band or their DJ work. They are going to show up.
Yeah, I just feel like, unless there's maybe I've learned my lesson about the tornado, but
well, I mean, that worked out great.
It worked great. So yeah, by the way, I had an event got hit by a tornado. That's a whole episode. But yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, first of all, we're going to have 10 sacks of crawfish, thanks to Mitch Bully at Bully's up in Caledonia. Bully's, he won't have crawfish by the time this airs, but he will again in the fall. And he does a good job with meat and stuff. And he supports a lot of local events, which becomes, the more events I do, the more that becomes important to me. Not just people writing a check, but if they're helping or volunteering and stuff like that. That's where I'm trying to do what I always say people should do. Like if you're getting free food from Zachary's or Peppers, which everybody does, that should be stop number one.
I agree.
Call Doug at Zachary's or Aaron at Peppers.
Amen.
Because or Johnny in Deli, because they support more things than anybody.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna spend money, go to those places.
I agree 1,000%.
Anything else you got going on today? Got any calls you're going to?
Gonna go do a few more after I walk out of here. So
Last thing I had to ask, you have I think this is part of your outreach program. You've got this guy working for you named Cam. And
Yeah.
he's just a little slow in the head.
Just a little.
And pretends to talk on his phone all the time. Is that sort of a thing?
Yeah, it was a thing for a while. He's always been really good at portraying and being kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
So we always
down cold.
He is like we said. If we looked up the dictionary under redhead, we'd find my wife. If we looked up douche whatever, you're going to find Cam. But he always wears his sunglasses, and that was kind of always the thing we would joke about with guys like that or girls like that, whatever you want to call them. They pretend they're on the phone when they're not really on the phone. So that became a whole thing. And I still bump into people who's like, I used to love it when you and Cam worked together every day. And I would see these posts you would make of Cam pretending to be on the phone while pretending to do whatever. And we've got a whole bunch of those different things.
I had a young lady ask about him once because he's easy on the eyes for the ladies.
He's pretty
good. He's a delicate young man.
He is.
And I said something. I said he's the only locksmith I know that routinely locks himself inside of things and out of things. I can imagine him like locked in the van trying to get out.
Right.
And he'd have to call locksmiths.
Yeah. I tried to just pick him up and throw him in the back of the van with the candy, and he just started showing up every day. I don't know what that was
You
about.
get reported for that every once in a while for having your creepy white van? I know it's smart.
No, it's I don't get reported for it, but we do make jokes about it regularly.
I drove a white panel van with no windows, like it had the two back windows. And
Cargo. That's both of mine.
Yeah, we took it. Like a guy gave it to me when he bought the pizza place I owned, so I kept it for like 6 months and then sold it to somebody else. But during that 6 months was the Saints football season, and I put green AstroTurf in the back, field markings, little decorations everywhere, and we go to Saints games. But it was still, that makes it even more creepy.
It does.
Like, no, it's not weird. It's not weird. And you open it up. See, it's a football.
It's weird.
Club.
It's weirder than I
Like,
said. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, now I'm going to go try to sell a house so you can rekey it, and you're going to go try to rekey a house and tell them they should move so I can
Sell the house.
Anything else we can do for you today, Bruce?
Nah, man. I think this was fun.
All right.
We'll do it again.
Yep. Thanks, Catfish Alley Studios and Josh Gillis. We are out of here. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger, and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no-pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.